Welcome, welcome. How's everyone doing? Woo woo. All right, you guys. Just to get us kind of started here today, just as a heads up, Kira will not be joining us today, but moving forward, she will be joining us about once a month. So stay tuned, but don't worry, we got you guys. We have a lot of fun stuff planned for this new season of our Clubhouse. We're very excited. Stay tuned. We'll keep you guys updated. But for today, we did want to focus on one of the topics beyond the workout. Today's topic is going to be all about living on purpose. Now, what does that even mean? That is the question that we are going to be answering today. Very excited to dive into it. This topic, honestly, we were just talking about how it's been kind of surrounding a lot of our conversations and it's been coming up. So it only felt natural to bring it to light today and as a focus for this chat. I think, we both think there's a lot to say and there's a lot of perspectives, different perspectives to learn from when it comes to finding your purpose and living with purpose. When we think about holistic fitness, which has been our main theme, at this point, I think we all understand that it's about being more than just fit physically, but about having a fit mind and just being the best versions of ourselves all around in all aspects of our lives. So when it comes down to it, we want to get into the core of what it all means and what the purpose of it all really is.
Yeah, exactly. And hey guys, I'm right here as well. We're actually together in the same room and I just tried to hop on mine and it's like not working. So we're going to be on this on just Louise's. What's up, Crystal? Welcome. All right. So Crystal, Louise was just explaining how our topic today is about living on purpose and what the heck that even means. So to piggyback off of what Louise was saying is, we all grew up wanting to be something, right? Whether it was, I don't know, you ask a kid when they grow up, like, what do you want to be? And they're like an astronaut or a teacher. In my case, I wanted to be a dolphin trainer.
Yes.
But the idea is that innately we're all dreamers, right? Like, yeah, sure. We're when we were born and when we're taught to play, we're taught to imagine and all these things. But at the end of the day, we dream because that is part of who we are as humans. And as we learn and as we experience new things, our imagination evolves, our dreams evolve, and we start to mold an idea of what we want our life to look like, right? What we want to be, what our purpose on this earth is, that ultimate question, why am I here? But it gets to a certain point where we start to go through the motions, right? You wake up, you go to school every day, you have to do A, B, C, then D, E, F at the end of the day. And then the day's done, you go to sleep, you go on to the next thing. And then it's like, okay, now I have to go to college. Now I have to get my degree. Now I have to get a job. Now I have to X, Y, Z, right? Whatever it might be. We just start to go through these motions. And sometimes our dreams come along for the ride. And then other times they kind of just fall off of the edge, right? There's just a lot of things that happen sometimes in life where, we might get deterred. But that whole focus on getting from point A to point B is like what we really want to talk about is like there's so much more in between that. And I feel like a lot of the times we miss out on that beautiful part of the journey. That's what living, the definition of living is about the journey. It's about the experience, the human experience. It's not about the destination. It's not about that. It's about the experiences. It's about the people we meet. It's about the things that we learn along the way and how we can evolve as humans, right? So how can we change our perspective from going through the motions and then into living intentionally and on purpose? So I wanted to read a little quick poem and little just mini couple sentences from a book called Heart Talk by Cleo Wade. I absolutely love her. Heart Talk, it's a poetic wisdom for a better life. It's so, so amazing. And sometimes I'll just open random pages of this book, like kind of like pulling a tarot card. And sometimes sometimes I just need a little push of like a heart talk for the day. And it's so crazy, you guys. I swear to you, I was like, I'm gonna open this book right now, knowing that this was our topic, that living on purpose is our topic for the day. I'm like, I'm gonna open to a random page, and I swear this is what the first page that opened up to. So I was like, what? This is so crazy. Okay, so the poem is this. It's called These Things Take Time. I am the caterpillar right now. I may not be flying high like a butterfly, but I am sure as hell grounded. And so then there's a little explanation to that poem. And that explanation, in a way, is this is the explanation. It is, divine timing is real. The caterpillar enjoys the energy of being grounded as much as it will enjoy the energy of being a butterfly in the sky. This is because one cannot exist without the other, and every phase of the cycle is equally as necessary as the next. You will have less worry in your life when you can appreciate all of the moments of becoming who you are. Don't just appreciate it, enjoy it. And I thought that was so wonderfully fitting, because it literally explains how sometimes you're the caterpillar, sometimes you're the butterfly, but the process and the journey of becoming, going from one to the other, that is the moment where we need to appreciate, and we have to have less worry. And I think that a lot of the stresses in our life come from that stress and worry of, oh my gosh, getting to becoming a butterfly, instead of enjoying the process and appreciating it for what it is. So with that said, we're going to open the floor to you guys. So please raise your hand if you want to participate. And you guys know we love you guys participating. It's our absolute favorite thing of why we do these clubhouses. So this first question it's kind of two questions in one. So take it however you want to take it. Sorry, that was my phone. What did you want to be when you grow up? And how has that evolved over time based on your experiences? So I'll ask the first part again. What did you want to be when you were growing up, and how has that evolved over time based on your experiences? And then the follow-up question to that is, have your dreams been deterred or shifted in any way? Does anybody want to participate and share that with us? Louise can go if nobody wants to go.
Yeah, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Feel free to raise your hand, you guys. Well, I guess while we get some participants, we'll go ahead and get started. Honestly, growing up, personally, I always just wanted to be, this sounds so cheesy, but I just always wanted to be like I wanted to be my father, in a sense of what he did. While I didn't fully understand the extent of everything he was achieving at the time, he started his own business. And as someone who moved here from Mexico when he was like 16 and all that stuff, which later in life I understood a little better. But when I was younger, I just saw him doing his thing. He started a business of his own. He was his own boss. And growing up, I was like, I want to do that, There have been a lot of obstacles or a lot of things that have, maybe made me question that, or kind of steered me in one direction or the other, but I think that's a part of it. Sometimes it's a matter of, can I live up to that, and sometimes you do have that self-doubt. Was I born to do that as well? Was I meant to do that? Was that my purpose? I later in life learned that what he does is, as much as I admire it, is not exactly what I want to do, and I mean that more specifically in like the industry he's in and things like that. I found my passion, as you guys know, in a different route with dance and fitness and all that kind of stuff, which, perhaps wasn't exactly where he saw me going or all that. But all in all, I think seeing him achieve his dream was kind of what led me to pursue mine. You have those disagreements in life, or sometimes you don't exactly see eye to eye, which kind of makes you feel like you need to change your route at times. But at the end of the day, I think, I have to remind myself that my passion is going to lead me towards my motivation to make my dreams come true at the end of the day. So we're still on the journey. We're still figuring it out. But like we were saying, I think we're enjoying the process. And I think finding your route is going to allow you to do that. Because I feel like if I just went to follow his footsteps, I would, as much as I love him, I would not be enjoying the process as much as I am now, you know? And I love what I do. I love waking up every day and knowing that this is my job. So yeah, it's a little bit about my dream.
I love that. Yay, Eric, welcome, welcome. Jump on in, Eric. Oh,
Hey, Eric, you there?
Eric, did you want to go ahead? You can speak, yeah, whenever you're ready.
Sure. Yes. Thanks, guys. I wanted to be, when I grew up, like as a child, of course, I wanted to be like a vet. Firefighter. But when I got into high school, I wanted to be a music video director and short film / like commercial producer. And my parents also had a different idea of what they wanted my life to look like when I was that age. And, they did. Just honestly, they did talk me out of studying film in college. And I chose to listen. And I got a business degree instead. My parents were both educators. Actually, everyone in my family is an educator, college and high school level. And so when I chose to do a degree that was outside of that, it was like very shocking to everyone except for me. And I didn't want to stay in one spot for my entire life. I wanted to see different cities and meet different people. And I just didn't want to spend my whole life in Eureka, Missouri. And so I chose business. And, over the course of my career, my dreams did change. I got a job as a property manager for an apartment building. When I first got out of college, I worked at a marketing company for a year. I did marketing for a microbiology laboratory back in 2011, and then a landscape construction company. And, I gained all these skills and I didn't really see what was, looking back, you see everything so much more clear, but, I'm gaining skills about bookkeeping. I'm gaining skills about, office management, all these things, and operations and accounting and all these different things that I'm like, well, this isn't exactly what I'm looking for. Well, fast forward to 2013, I meet someone who is a post-production, he owns a post-production company, and they do TV and radio commercials for concert tours. And now the job that I have right now is I do operations and behind-the-scenes technical management for this company, and I've been there for 5 years. And so my dreams did transform. I'm not doing exactly what I thought that I would be doing. I'm not creating television commercials. I'm not creating radio commercials, but I am very much so like in the orbit of music, which I'm super passionate about, video, which I'm super passionate about. So it all kind of encompasses. So like my dreams sort of transformed over the course of time without even me knowing it. And it turns out I have a job that I really do love the work that we do. It's fast paced and it's very stressful, but I do love the type of work that we do a lot. So my dreams did change quite a bit over the course of time.
I love the fact that thank you for sharing. That's such an incredible story, and sounds like you've been through quite the journey. And yeah, you have gained a lot of skills. And, the moment you said like, yeah, it did change and evolve, but ultimately you're in the realm of where you want. And I think that is so important to note, because I think that, it's kind of like what they say is the people you hang out with are the people you become, is the person you become, right? So it's always about, to me, it's always like, always hanging out or being surrounded by people who challenge you, who are, interested in the same things as you, so on and so forth. And then that way you're going to find your people, your vibe, your energy, your, like your purpose, if you will. So I think it's so cool how like everything that you did still led you ultimately to in some shape or form, your passions. And that reminds me of a conversation that we had with a good friend, Manny. And I don't know if I've spoken about this before on a Clubhouse chat. Maybe I have, but I'm going to say it again because I feel like it's very relevant. We were having a little happy hour, virtual happy hour, and we were all going around in a circle and talking about what our vision is for our life. And everyone went around the circle and everybody had the coolest vision. And it was like so incredible. Like this girl was like, I'm going to take over my dad's vineyard and I'm going to have this whole thing. And like, what? Yeah, I'm going to own like 20 different properties around the area. And I don't know, it was incredible. And I was like, wow, that is such a vision. It's so cool. I'm like, and then I started in a way, I was like, wow, I'm so excited for her. But also in a way, like deep down, I was a little bit jealous. I was like, whoa, like, you know exactly what you want to do. And I don't know that I have that vision. And so my turn came around and I was like, first of all, like a little bit, like I got really shy and I was like, I don't really know that I have a specific vision. Like I know that I want to do fitness and I know I like always thought that I wanted to have my own, brick and mortar and my own business and whatever else and in the fitness world, but I don't know. And I used to think I knew what it was going to look like, but now I'm not so sure, yada, yada. And then Manny reminded me, he was like, you know what? It's even better. That's even better that you don't have a specific vision, because that just means that you get to go in the direction of what you want and the universe will take care of the rest. Sometimes when you have too clear of a vision, it might block you from other possibilities. But if you keep your mind open to other things, the vision that you have for yourself might evolve into something even better than you could have imagined, because you're opening yourself to the possibilities, because you're not so aligned, right? So being surrounded, my point to that, I guess, was like being surrounded by those things and like still kind of following along with what you want and will eventually guide you to what you ultimately want to do. And I know that you're in the process of doing that, Eric, still. And like, this is a cool conversation, I think, for you, especially because even when it gets hard, even when it gets really uncomfortable, even when it feels so stressful and like, so like, oh my God, what am I doing here? It's like trying to appreciate and enjoy the process in between A and B, and then in between B and C, and so on and so forth. So I love that.
Yeah. And just to kind of like, I guess, going off of that, I feel like one thing, so my sister and I have been having these kind of conversations as well lately. And I think the term we keep using is the seasons of life, and that's one thing that's been coming up a lot. And the reason it's been coming up is because both of us talk about, what we thought we wanted versus what we want now versus like, things change and that's okay. And sometimes it's hard because personally, I've felt in the past, like I had a dream, right? Like after college, I moved to LA to pursue a specific dream, and that dream has changed, but sometimes it's hard to let go of that dream because you feel like you've wanted it for so long. But at the same time, as we grow, as we evolve, as different things happen in our lives, as whether it's family or relationship priorities, like all that stuff, it changes. And while it really can be hard to let go of that dream sometimes, just know that there is a bigger or a better or a different dream, right? Like I'm still in the world that I want to be in the industry I want to be in and all that stuff, but it just looks a little different for me now, and I think that's something that we were kind of having those conversations and having to remind each other about. And that's okay, that's okay. So like Daniela said, it's good to go with an open mind, have some leeway so that you can allow the universe to kind of lead you in the direction you were meant to go.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Eric, thank you so much for sharing. If you have anything else to say, obviously unmute yourself. Anybody else want to share? I'm happy to reread the prompt. If it's okay, if not, we can move on if nobody wants to say anything else. I'll give you guys a couple seconds. Yeah. Anybody want to share?
Oh, yay.
Cool.
Hmm.
I had a feeling. I was waiting for you, Crystal.
Hi.
Hey, girl.
Hey, girl.
So, I guess I'm Crystal, for anyone that doesn't know me here, but for me, growing up, I always wanted to be a teacher, specifically a high school teacher, and teach health. I used to be really into health growing up. Still kind of I am, but yeah, so that's what I wanted to do. And as I've shared with you guys before, my plan shifted. I ended up getting married early on and having children, and then kind of became a homemaker with, staying at home with my kids while my husband worked. So all of those plans went out the door. And, but then I ended up going back to school after my divorce. And now I'm actually reconsidering going back and getting my master's and my credentials so that I can pursue that dream. Not necessarily a health teacher per se, but I highly am reconsidering becoming a teacher and getting my credentials and intertwining it with my master's so I can kill two birds with one stone. That's kind of what I want to do right now. So I don't know if I will end up doing that or not, but it's something I've just been highly considering. And I personally feel like I get a lot of purpose in life when I'm able to, in any way, shape, or form, make an impact in someone else's life. So I feel that in education, when you see a child who maybe doesn't believe in themselves and feels like they just don't got it, maybe they're not good at this, or they feel like they're not meant for school. I feel like if, as an educator, you could make an impact on a child and make them find purpose or want to get better, or let them know that they are good enough, help them find a way to study in a sense that can help them ace that test and make them feel more confident with themselves. I feel that would be a wonderful way for me to do something where there's purpose, because like I said, to me, anytime I'm able to make an impact in someone's life in any way, it makes me feel like there's purpose in my life. So I'm not sure if I answered those questions or not, feeling under the weather, but yes, that's it.
I love that so much, Crystal. Thank you so much for sharing. Sorry you're not feeling so well. First of all, the fact that you said that, being wanting to be a teacher and, wanting to make an impact on somebody's life is the most beautiful thing and the most beautiful purpose someone can have. So thank you for being that person that, wants to do that. We need more of that in this world. So we appreciate you. Also, it kind of reminded me of Ted Lasso. I don't know if you've seen have you seen that show on, it's on Apple TV, but it's called Ted Lasso. If you haven't yet, I think you would really, really love it and appreciate it.
No, I haven't.
Oh my gosh, girl.
I'll have to check it out.
Yes, go get it. Go get on it. It's so cute. You'll love it. You really will love it. It kind of aligns really well with what you just said. I won't say more because I don't want to ruin it for you, but it's really great. And season 2 just came out. This is so funny, but it's true. So I just introduced it to Luis yesterday. So we watched, I think 4 episodes yesterday,
it's
back
so
to back.
good. It's
so cute. But anyway, yeah, it's really cute, really funny. It's just a really good time. It's great to watch with your kids too. So definitely get your whole family involved. Anyway, thank you so much for sharing all that. With that said, we have a couple other questions for you, but before we get to those, I read this excerpt the other day, or this this blog, I guess, if you will, by this guy named Eben Oraz. He is yoga teacher, meditation teacher, breathwork teacher that I've been following for a long time. I found him in LA one day at randomly at a yoga studio, and he's been by far like the best teacher, guru, if you will, that I've ever come across. The way he has just a way with words, and he is so philosophical, and he has such a beautiful perspective on life. And so I read his emails, and I'll read this. I want to read this little blog to you guys. It's a little bit lengthy, but I thought it was really beautiful, and it falls again in line with what we're talking about today. If you guys want me to send it to you afterwards, if you want to get like a better understanding or better reading of it, please let me know. But I'll get right into it. It's called, the title of it is The Exhilaration and Disappointment of False Summits. In mountaineering, a false peak or false summit is a peak that appears to be the pinnacle of the mountain, but upon reaching it, it turns out the summit is higher. False peaks can have significant and discouraging effects on climbers' psychological states by inducing feelings of lost hope or even failure. But there is hope. The banal metaphor of life is as a journey, despite being played out and too on the nose, will always hold value when remembered because it affirms the will to keep moving forward. While we know, we forget the journey is simply never ending until it's finally over. And to billions of Hindus and Buddhists, even death is not the end. The insight is there are always new summits to reach, and in that there are peak achievements waiting for us that when conquered define us, or even better, redefine us. Personally, I still subscribe to my sense of fate, and despite the lack of evidence and alternative suggestions of the old and wise, believe there is a specific purpose behind each of our individual existences. For each of us, there is an Everest, and it is ours to reach alone. I say this to motivate, I say this to remind, but there is more. Our dreams are a mountain range, and our vision can only see so far into this ocean of peaks. I speak specifically of our life's biggest dreams, not necessarily our day-to-day ambitions and short-term goals. When we lock onto such dreams, and that in itself is a miraculous accomplishment, by necessity, that peak takes up the entirety of our vision. As we trek forward, blind to everything else, we progress. But as we approach what we think might be the great accomplishment because of life's infinity, we find our specific aim was only a stepping stone to something more or something different or something unimaginably new we couldn't conceive. Every dream is a false summit that reveals a summit more thrilling and more available to the person we are now, as we stand changed on a dream that is already beneath us. While mountaineers might collapse at the realization that the crest that they thought was the end is in fact not, in terms of life, I am thrilled with the idea that every summit achieved is dwarfed by the unrecognized summit beyond it. Be happy that the journey continues. This makes me think of the biblical statement from Corinthians, which I will botch, but essentially, God will not give us more than what we can bear. If that is true, every next summit is already ours. And upon our arrival, we will have become what we felt we were deep within. Isn't that the nature of life? The false summit is only evidence of both our and life's infinite potential, not failure. The mountain is there for us to rise up and meet it. It exists because our potential to reach it already exists. The dream and the dreamer are one. It's almost done, guys. The spirit of these paragraphs in yoga is known as rajas. It is the will to achieve, and more importantly, the will to struggle in the name of achievement. In wilderness culture, this is known as type 2 fun, not fun at all. More the satisfaction of overcoming insurmountable obstacles. The will to shatter what is old and fight for what is new. It's Darwin's survival of the fittest. It is the reality that we must invest our bodies, minds, and hearts in a game of simultaneous depletion and gain. This is life. We didn't ask for it, as far as we know, but are here in it. There is no choice. We were born on the mountain. Our choiceless circumstance to eternally do what we must be done is karma. As poetic as the idea is when written out, the reality of being on the mountain and in the grind is quite different. For this reason, for every great dream achieved, there are thousands left behind. There is a perfect metaphor for the reality of dreams and the endlessness of the infinite pursuit. The myth of Sisyphus, a man who defied God and was charged with rolling a boulder up a mountain for all eternity to only see it again and again roll down the hill. A heartbreaking, meaningless task. This image can trigger the same sense of failure of the mountaineer's experience, who, in their lack of luck, fall for the illusion of a summit that isn't real, grasping for a finish line that always turns to smoke. Type 2 fun. Learn to love it. Sisyphus is an easy metaphor to empathize with for obvious reasons, but there is hope. It was because of the endlessness of Sisyphus's meaningless task that he was permitted to live eternally and escape death. Death is the end of meaning. Eternal duty is the gift of endless meaning. It is our dreams that motivate us to keep climbing. The climb is what keeps us alive and beyond the reach of death. Each meaningless or meaningful effort of our day-to-day schedules leads us to greater opportunities. And each great dream that's built from our tiny day-to-day achievements, as big as it may seem, is only a single brick in a structure that the architect of our hearts envisions for us. There is no such thing as meaninglessness. There are no such things as false summits, only stepping stones that in hindsight provide undeniable evidence that impatience and hopes for a true endpoint are more dangerous than we know. The day there are no summits beyond the summit beneath our feet is the day the story ends. The struggle itself is enough to fill a man's heart. One must imagine Sisyphus is happy. One must be happy to never reach the finish line. Okay, I know that was long. I hope you guys heard it and understood it. And again, I will happily send you guys this again, because I think it's worth reading twice to like really understand it and like feel it for what it is. But the idea here again is that like, there are no false summits. There are no, like, whenever you're looking at the mountain top and you're like, okay, I'm going to get to the very top there, or the finish line of a race or whatever it is. At the end of it, you can still there's still more. You can still keep going. There's still, it's just a stepping stone. It's just a part of the journey. There's no A to B. So basically we're so focused. Like, I guess like the point of all of this is like, we're so focused on going from point A to point B, when in reality there's no B. B, if it were B is defined as death, right? The only end is death. So it's like the journey between A and B is what matters. And us silly humans only think about B because we think B is some sort of like incredible thing, where the incredible part of it all is the journey and is about making impacts and is about living in your purpose and in your passions and doing the best you can with the time that we have. So that's the point that I wanted to come across for that. Now, loaded question. If you guys are still with us, if I didn't put you to sleep by now. Next question. What does living on purpose mean to you? What does living on purpose mean to you? In purpose and on purpose. Anybody want to share?
I'll go ahead and start. To me, living on purpose is that we are here to make an impact, a positive impact in the world, whether that is, being a friendly face to someone, uplifting others. But when I think of living on purpose, I feel that we have a purpose, and that purpose is to more so better humanity and this world. And ideally much kind of like the Buddhists, where, you know, this is, you don't die. It's because if you live on purpose, you leave an imprint, and hopefully some of the philosophies, the good morals and things that you taught your children will go on and will live on through them. And you made an impact to where hopefully they will carry on your teachings and your good doings, so that their generation continues it, and then so on. And that is what I think of with living on purpose.
That is amazing, first of all, because I also have to agree with you. I feel like everybody has a purpose and everybody has an impact, right? And I think sometimes we kind of forget how big of an impact that can be, especially beyond us, right? It goes way further than us. Like you said, Crystal, it goes on to the children, to the people you were around during your time and all that stuff, whether it, you know, whether the good or the bad that happens in life, a lot of those things stick with you. I mean, think about the impact your parents have had on you, or like your friends and family and all that stuff. So I think I love that you said our purpose is to leave a positive impact, because that is what I would hope we all do, right? Is leave that positive impact to go on for generations and generations. And that's kind of how things build and how they grow in that sense. So thank you for sharing that. That's beautiful.
Yeah. And then, you know, I also, when I think of living on purpose, I also think about, like, I guess in more of a micro scale, micro level, I think about, you know, in our day to day, when we wake up and we're like, okay, like literally thinking about like getting out of bed, looking out the window, noticing how beautiful the day is, feeling your first conscious breath, and being like, okay, I am here, I am alive, I am going to give my all for today because I have this purpose in this life. I was chosen to be alive today, and I get to go out there and make this positive impact today. You know, every single day we get to breathe is a gift. How does that song go? Every day above ground is a good day. Remember that, or something like that. I don't know.
I love that.
I love that line from that song. I'm gonna find it. But it's true. I mean, you know, we get to live this life, and so it's about, for me, it's about like appreciating everything we get to have and we get to do, and how capable our bodies are and our brains are and our skills are, and, you know, what we get to do with what we know and the experiences that we experience and the people we meet. And it's about like doing everything with that positive impact in mind, living in that purpose of, okay, I am going to influence as many people as I possibly can, doing what I love and sharing my gifts with the world. And because if I don't, then that's a complete waste. That's a complete waste of time and of being alive, right? If we're living our lives and just going through the motions and sitting at home and not doing anything with the skills and the you know, passions that we have, then what are we doing? You know, so it's a matter of like going out there and really truly just being in your purpose and spreading that with as many people as possible. So that's my answer. Oh, I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
Okay, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Anybody else want to share? Feel free to raise your hand or come off mute.
Sure, yeah, I can share. This reminds me of a prompt that I worked with Leah Marie for quite some time back earlier this year, and you know, deciding what your purpose is and like keeping it in mind. So like, for example, I have boiled down my purpose to spreading kindness and love. Very similar to Crystal's, like making a positive impact. And keeping that in mind, like throughout your day to day, which is extremely difficult. So, and like things like meditation can help. You know, spreading kindness and love when you're at work, when you're in frustrating situations, when you're in celebratory situations. Keeping that purpose kind of like a company has like a mission and a vision, and like most business decisions are supposed to be made based on that mission and vision, kind of in a very similar way for your own personal life. Do I want to give back? Do I want to volunteer? Do I want to, I don't know, plant more trees? I don't know. Like, what do you want? And then just constantly reminding yourself, because those rewards and the payoff comes from those things. When you keep a smile on your, sometimes you have to keep a smile like cemented and pasted on your face when you're not actually happy, but it can make a positive impact. It can turn out positive if you persevere and keep your, vision for your own life in mind, through sort of the mishigas of like the day to day that we all kind of go through,
100% accurate. And I'm very happy that you brought up the fact that it's extremely difficult, your words, extremely difficult sometimes to do that, to show up every day. I kid you not, we were talking about that earlier today. We were saying, like, sometimes it's hard to show up. Sometimes it's hard to show up with a smile on your face. Sometimes it's harder than others. Some days you just want to lay in bed and not see anybody and not talk to anybody. And sometimes you don't want to, and it's hard but then reminding yourself of that purpose and of the reason why we get to do what we get to do. And, remind ourselves what, like, that if love and kindness is our purpose, and at the end of the day, though, remind yourself, though, that love and kindness can only be spread to others if you spread it to yourself first. So always keep that in mind, because that's important. Sometimes we have a lot of pressure on ourselves, like, oh my God, if I didn't plant a tree today, I'm the worst person in the world, like there's also like that give and take. We are all human, and we're all going to have our good days and our bad days. But ultimately, having that perspective shift of, instead of going through the motions and living intentionally and having that kind of that shell, I guess, or like that I don't know. In my mind right now, I have like a vision of what I want to say, but it's not coming out the way I want to say it. But basically just having that on your sleeve, I guess, like knowing that you always have love and kindness as your purpose, and you can use that as a tool in everything that you do, for example, or leaving a positive impact on children and making them believe in themselves, and having that on your sleeve at all times, so that you can go out there in the world and have that reminder always. But yeah, sometimes it's hard to show up. Sometimes it is hard. Sometimes it's hard to put a smile on your face if you're not feeling it. And that's okay too. It's just understanding that, like, some days, we can only do the best that we can. But I love that. I love that so much.
I think, I was just going to say, I love that you mentioned it was, a prompt that you kind of worked through, right? Because that's okay. I think as far as it goes, like, if you are listening to this, or even if you kind of have an idea of what your purpose might be, and you're not entirely sure, or it's not cemented, like, that's okay. Maybe this is your sign from the universe, or your sign from us, we're telling you now, but to take some time, and try and figure out what that purpose is, right? Your purpose might be completely different from anything you've heard here today, or whatever it is. But I think I love that, Eric, you mentioned that now it's like, you have kind of said it, and you're like, okay, this is my purpose, and I know this, and now you can move again with intention through your day-to-days. If one of the aspects is struggling, or one of the aspects in your life is seeming kind of like tough, or it's bringing you down, like, think about your purpose. Go back to your purpose. Is it feeding your purpose? And is it allowing you to live your truth, And yeah, I think that really just goes to what we kind of mentioned at the beginning of enjoying the journey, right? Because even if you're like, I need to go and take the time to think about what my purpose is, enjoy that. Yeah. The opportunities are endless right now, essentially is what that means. The world is your oyster. It could be anything and everything. And you can make it what you want, right? Like only you can decide, or you can tell yourself what your purpose is. And if that changes over time, that's okay too, right? But I think, yeah, that's kind of the beauty of it is you get to enjoy this moment of figuring it out, and you get to enjoy the journey and enjoy the changes that come with that, the development you'll experience.
Totally. It's at the end of the day, like think about it this way. Like think about the alternative. If there was a summit, in fact, if there was a peak, right? And you reach the top, next question is now what?
Yeah.
Right? There's nothing after that. So it's like, we don't really want that to end. We want to keep growing. We want to keep evolving. We want to keep learning. We want to keep like experiencing and adventuring and meeting incredible people and learning new perspectives. Like that is the human experience. So yeah, enjoy the journey. That is what it's all about. It's like living intentionally, appreciating every moment, the great moments and the not so great moments, and like understanding that those things are happening for you, not to you. And because everything is an experience, and everything is a new skill to be learned, a new, perspective to be learned. And yeah, I don't know. I think this was a great conversation.
Yeah.
If anybody has anything else to say, we'd love to hear it. Otherwise, I think we're going to wrap up.
Yeah, if you guys don't mind, one last thing really quick. I'd love to receive the big long passage message that Daniela you mentioned, and then I also, before we all left, Crystal, I wanted to say that my two favorite teachers, one in high school, one in college, my two favorite teacher professor, they both in common had actual in the real world experience outside of education. So, many teachers become educators directly out of college. And of course, we love and appreciate them. I found it very inspiring to hear real life experience from somebody in the workplace. My professor in college had worked for Procter & Gamble and Hallmark in their marketing department, which truly inspired my future. And then also in high school, my English teacher, she had been an editor for a publishing company in her past jobs. So those perspectives that you have learned throughout your life so far, bring those as well to the kids and students is also super, super powerful. So I just wanted to also mention that because we were talking about that.
Thank you for sharing.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I love that. Yeah. That is so true and so smart, and I love that. Crystal, go get it, girl.
Yeah.
That to me, I just got inspired for you to go get your degree. Get it, girl. Come on, I'm rooting for you. That's amazing. Yeah. Oh, thank you guys so much for being here always, for sharing your perspectives. You guys don't realize how insightful these conversations are for us. We learn so much. I hope you guys learn so much, and just being in this room together is truly really therapeutic. Yeah. I love learning and hearing all the stories that we've been talking about and surrounding all these topics. With that said, we've got really, really, really exciting, and when I tell you that, I mean really exciting topics coming up for you guys. So stay tuned for next week's topic. We will be announcing that soon. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that, but it's going to be really awesome. And 100% Eric, I will send you this excerpt for sure. And don't forget to watch Ted Lasso if you haven't. It's just a really, really great show.
Absolutely.
All right, you guys, have a beautiful night, and we will see you guys very soon.
Take care, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a wonderful evening.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.